So in Torg Eternity, we have Cosm cards. These are probably one of my favorite, we say this word a lot, one of my favorite things about this game.
Yeah, this was a new embellishment that we came, and it was actually a little risky because we've already got quite a few cards, but it was a component that we felt was really necessary. And where we hit on it was when we were in the Living Land, and there were certain actions that we wanted to bring out from the world laws, and it was just too much weight to put it into the rules.
Right, it's hard to remember, you got to reference it, but if it's a card, it's right there in your hand.
And the other cool thing about that was it puts the control of it into the player's hand.
Right.
So something like the Law of Decay, which we offloaded all the rolling that you would need to do, and you say, look, when you play the Law of Decay, everyone's going to lose an item. If you don't play it, you're fine.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a great item, but the reward, the possibilities that you get are based on how important that item actually is.
Right, you're making it part of the player's agency. They're turning that world law into a meaningful choice for the player. And I love the immersion part of it. I love the fact that I feel like I'm in the living land because that's happening, but that control is still in my hand. And that's what's beautiful about it.
And that's why I don't know if people noticed, but all of the world laws, we did 3 per Cosm, and they're the top 3. Like every Cosm's got actually like hundreds of little world laws that affect its behavior, but only like 3 major ones. And we only put mechanical effects on 2. The third one is there solely to be thematic and to tie Cosm cards in to reinforce those tropes.
Well, it's thematic, but it also has the mechanical engagement with the cards. It's not
exactly.
It's not a rule you have to look up. It's part of the Cosm deck.
It drives that deck exactly. Right. So like the Law of Fear in Aurosh.
Right. There's not a mechanical element to it in the book.
Right.
But
there's a mechanical fear checks any harder.
Right. But in the cards, that's where that is represented, is the mechanical benefit, the mechanical effects there.
Right. You get cards like the Lights Out, which we talked about,
or Jump Scare.
Jump Scare,
which is another favorite of mine. See, Jump Scare is this great card. You play it, everybody gets possibilities, but then the GM rolls a dice, and on an odd result, it's a monster that attacks you. But on an even result, it's just like a cat.
Like a cat clinging to the ceiling or something.
Yeah, it's something harmless that... So it reinforces the feel of it being a horror realm, which I thought was really cool. But again, it's in the player's hands to choose when and how to play this. So Cosm cards could be a thing where you wait for the exact right moment, or, as in during one of our playtests, we could just pick that first encounter and say, this is going to be the most epic encounter. Everybody's playing their cards all at once, and I love that.
Yep, and you just kind of put aside the adventure for a moment and say, well, we're going to be dealing with some stuff.
I guess this is happening.
Right, but the great thing is it feels good as a player, right? It's like we chose this. Like we wanted this complete storm of terrible things to happen. We asked for it, we got it.
Right, and it was very memorable. It was one of my favorite things we did.
And there's also a lot of control, there's a lot of control on the GM side too that we try to give over. There's a lot of GM call. We don't want to lean on that too hard. We want to
It's still his campaign. It's still his story. The players get to make choices that affect it, but it's not taking control out of his hands.
Yeah, and exactly how the effects of those cards play out are going to be chosen by the GM. And sometimes it's a negotiation too.
Absolutely.
We stress that on some of the cards. Look, you're going to have to talk to people and figure out just exactly how this goes down. But an example of that control is one of the cards in the Cyber Papacy that's tied to heretical magic. It means on a fumble, magic summons a demon, because that's just how
that's what happens.
That's how Jean Malraux likes it.
That's what happens in the Cyber Papacy.
But that can play out in a lot of different ways. It could just be oh man, a big demon appears and we're gonna fight it. Okay, cool. It could also be way more subtle, oh man, we look across the street at that moment and you see a cat in an alley and it's got red eyes and it hisses at you and runs away. And you're oh man, that's going to go mess something up. We've got to go chase that cat. Or we can just let it go and get stay on mission.
And there's ways that these can interact with other parts of the game. Let's say your demon did show up, but it took the form of an attractive human woman, and somebody else has in their Destiny deck, they have the romance card.
Romance or something.
You suddenly now this
Stuff
is a
just
new
got
thing.
really complicated. And we did that a lot with the Aurosh ones too, because it's one of the common horror tropes is you've got these very powerful nightmarish monsters, and the way you find out more about them is they get invested in a mortal.
Right.
Oh, you're a reborn version of someone I knew 500 years ago.
You remind me of my lost love.
Yeah. Or you're an actual blood relative or whatever. And we've got a card that lets you establish that relationship with them.
Which is good because they're not going to attack you, but it's
They
also
might still attack you.
horrible.
Again, that's a GM thing, you know. But either way, you're going to...
There's a dubious safety, let's put it that way. A dubious safety with that. And then,
either way, you're going to find out more about them, and it can also be the GM's excuse if that monster is about to murder everyone to be like, okay, I play that card. All right, we got out of jail for free this time.
oh no.
But
I think I would almost rather, that's the thing, is like Rorsch is one of those realms you really have to think about it with the Cosm cards. But it's great. And that's what Cosm cards are one of my favorite things about Torg.
yeah, and the other cool one is that's how we control some of the random elements in Pan Pacifica, like the mutation of the monsters.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, okay, it's just a bunch of zombies, no problem. And then that one guy at the table is like, mutation! Okay, it's not just a bunch of zombies anymore. We just stepped in it, everyone. Time to go. Yeah.
It's great. And so that's Cosm cards, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you guys for watching.